I still remember the smell of dusty plastic cases, the sound of floppies clicking into drives, and the thrill of seeing a new game boot up on screen. This was the 90s. No internet, no torrents, no Steam. If you wanted a new game, you had to know someone. And I did. Me and my best friend were hardcore PC gamers, the only ones in our class who had access to international games. We spent our pocket money buying original copies of Doom 2, Monkey Island, The Settlers, you name it. We'd trade with each other, share, copy protection, and all. It was our little ecosystem. Then he came. A new kid. Slick hair, shiny watch, smug face. Claimed his uncle had a massive collection of PC games. Rare stuff. We were excited. Finally, someone new to trade with. But that excitement didn't last. We gave him original after original. Our best, most cherished games. In return, garbage. Corrupted floppies. Missing files. Copy protections erased. And always with the same excuse. Oh, must have gotten damaged. Sorry, bro. At first, we trusted him. We were naive. We thought we'd finally found someone who understood the code. You trade fair. You don't screw your own crew. But he was playing a different game. After 3 months, we had nothing left but broken floppies, scratched labels, and the bitter taste of betrayal. Meanwhile, he had everything. Every game we'd worked so hard to collect. And he didn't even treat them right. It wasn't just theft, it was disrespect. That's when the idea hit us that we didn't expect it to go that far. Honestly, we thought his parents would just scold him a little or ask him a few questions. But the way it all exploded was far beyond anything we had imagined. The day after the letter arrived, he didn't show up to school. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some kids from our class who lived near his house whispered that they heard shouting the night before. Someone even claimed they saw his mother crying in the garden. Another said his dad had thrown something out the front door. 3 full days passed before he came back, and when he did, he looked like a ghost. Pale, quiet, head down, like all the fire had been sucked out of him. He didn't talk to anyone, not even the guys he used to hang with, and definitely not us. But the damage had been done. People stared at him in the halls, whispering and giggling. Some were bold enough to nudge condoms toward his locker when he wasn't looking. A few started calling him names under their breath. It didn't help that our prank had made him an easy target in a school that barely understood what AIDS was and treated gay like an insult. I felt something. Not guilt exactly, but discomfort. It wasn't supposed to break him. It was just supposed to sting a little, to teach him not to screw people over and walk away smiling. But still, every time I saw his eyes, hollow and heavy, I wondered if we'd gone too far. Then came the principal's office. We got called in separately first. Just me and my friend. Principal Larson looked at us like we'd committed a federal crime. His voice was calm but sharp, each word like a slap. Did you two send this letter? He slid a folder across the desk. There it was, our printed prank. Still folded. Still sealed with tape. Still carrying the fake logo we had carefully scanned and pasted onto the letterhead that I felt my stomach twist. I admitted to it. My friend tried to dance around it, but eventually, he caved too. You realize this borders on impersonation and harassment? The principal asked, his hands folded tightly. His parents are demanding suspension. Or worse. Then he told us something that stopped us cold. The kid's father had gone to the police. Suddenly, what started as a joke didn't feel like a joke at all. But it didn't end in criminal charges. The police said it was a school matter. We were lucky, really lucky. The principal gave us 2 weeks of in-school suspension, made us write apology letters, which we knew he'd never read, and banned us from the computer lab for the rest of the year. We took it, silently. But the real punishment? It wasn't the suspension. It was facing him. Watching the humiliation we caused settle in his bones. The look he gave us during that conference, with his mom sobbing and dad seething, wasn't one of anger. It was betrayal, like he expected us to mess with him but didn't think we'd go that far. For weeks after that, school felt different. We weren't proud of what we did anymore. Not because we were caught, but because we'd become what we hated. The guys who use people and throw them away. That we stopped talking to each other about the prank after that. Me and my friend just moved on. Or pretended to. Years passed that I graduated. Moved away. Got a job. Life unfolded. And then one random night, scrolling on Facebook, I saw a familiar face. It was him. Same last name. Same eyes. But older. Obviously, he was at a pride parade. Holding a flag. Smiling. Not hiding anymore. I stared at the photo for a long time. He had friends now. People who looked like they actually cared about him. The caption said he was helping organize events for LGBTQ plus youth in his city. And then, something inside me just shifted. All those years I thought I'd gotten the last laugh, that we'd taken our revenge and won. But looking at that picture, I realized he was the one who had come out stronger. We had tried to shame him, to humiliate him into silence. But he rose. Maybe he wasn't even gay back then. Maybe he was. But none of that mattered anymore. Because he had found his way. And we were just a bad memory. He probably burned a long time ago. I don't know if he remembers me anymore. Maybe he still does. Maybe he doesn't. But I'll never forget what we did. Not because it was clever. Not because it worked. But because it taught me a lesson I never saw coming. Revenge might feel good in the moment. But regret stays much, much longer. Life went on. But something inside me never quite healed from that one decision. Years later, I found myself at a conference in another city. Just another networking event for young entrepreneurs. I wasn't thinking about the past. I had grown, matured, buried those years beneath layers of adult responsibility and self-preservation. But fate doesn't forget. I stepped into a coffee shop near the venue the next morning, and there he was, sitting by the window, laptop open, phone beside his latte, a soft smile on his face as he typed. It took me a full minute to convince myself it was him. But it was. His name came back like thunder. The same name we mocked on fake letters. The same one we cursed behind his back. I wanted to leave. To run. But something pulled me toward him. I stood in front of his table. He looked up. Recognition took a second. Then nothing. Not anger. Not warmth. Just neutral curiosity. Hey, I said awkwardly. I think we went to school together. He tilted his head, searching my face. Really? You look familiar. I'm sorry. I blurted, before I could stop myself. His brow furrowed. For what? I swallowed hard. For everything. The letter. The humiliation. I was stupid. And scared. And cruel. Silence. People around us sipped coffee and scrolled on their phones, oblivious. But to me, the room was frozen in that moment. He looked at me for a long time, then finally said, I forgave you years ago. Not for you, but for me. I couldn't carry that weight forever. I nodded, tears stinging the edges of my eyes. I wanted to say more. Explain myself. Make it better. But what could I say? He smiled. Soft. Calm. Unbothered. I hope you've changed, he added. I really do. And with that, he turned back to his laptop. It was over. Not just the story. Not just the guilt. The revenge I thought I had taken in high school. It came full circle. Because he found peace. And I carried the shame. That's the thing about cruel decisions made in anger. They echo through the years in ways you never expect. In the end, I wasn't the avenger. I was the villain. And that realization? It broke me in ways revenge never could. After that moment, I walked out of the cafe. Not because I had to, but because there was nothing left to say. The past didn't need another apology. It needed silence, reflection, and maybe a little penance. All the years I thought I'd won by pulling off the perfect prank, I was blind. I didn't see what it really meant. It wasn't clever. It wasn't funny. It was fear disguised as dominance. Insecurity masked as vengeance. And the kid we thought we hurt? He rebuilt himself. He rose. He became more than the name we tried to shame. He became free. But me? I had to carry the memory of what I did, of who I was, through every milestone in my life. Every time someone trusted me. Every time someone laughed at my jokes. Every time I said I stood for something. That letter would come back to me. In the middle of the night. In the quiet. When no one was watching. The cruelest part about revenge is that it always feels finished, until it isn't. Fast forward to now. I'm older. Wiser, I hope. But I carry scars you can't see. Not the ones I received. The ones I gave. If you asked me, was it worth it? I'd tell you the truth. It never is. Not if it makes you someone you don't recognize later. Not if it costs you your own peace. And sometimes, the people we try to destroy, they walk away stronger. But the ones who orchestrated it? They spend a lifetime trying to outrun their own reflection. I still remember every word in that fake letter. But now, I write new letters. Real ones. To people I've wronged. To people I've hurt. To myself. Because healing doesn't start with payback. It starts with responsibility. But after the principal's office meeting, after the humiliation in front of his parents and teachers, something changed in his eyes. He didn't just look angry anymore. He looked broken. His arrogance had drained, his snark wiped clean. For the first time since he joined our class, he had nothing to say. And for a while, that was enough. Weeks passed, then months. He never brought games to school again. He stopped mocking me for listening to Queen. He sat in the corner of the classroom, quiet, rarely raising his hand. Whatever pride he carried had been shattered right there in that storm of righteous revenge. But here's the thing about revenge. Even when it feels justified, even when it feels clean, it's never completely over. It follows you. By the time we hit graduation, he barely spoke to anyone. I heard rumors his parents pulled him from youth church choir, restricted who he could hang out with, even took him to some kind of confession retreat. My friend and I joked about it then, but deep down, I sometimes wondered, did we go too far? Nah. He stole from us, lied, used us, disrespected us, humiliated us in front of our own little community of gamers. And in the 90s, with no online forums, no Reddit to vent on, no YouTube call-out videos, revenge had to be handwritten. Years later, I saw him again. I was walking through town on a quick visit back home. I live abroad now, and there he was, working behind the counter at an old hardware store. He didn't recognize me at first. Time had added weight to his face, thinned his hairline, dulled the smug glint in his eyes. But I knew it was him. I stepped up to the counter. He scanned my items. Didn't say a word. So I said, "Still using floppy disks?" and smirked. He froze. His head snapped up. He looked at me, really looked, and I saw it. Recognition. A slow, bitter smile spread across his face. "You," he muttered. "You little bastard." "Guilty," I said with a grin. Still grounded. He laughed. Just once. A dry, short sound like he hadn't laughed in years. Nah. I left that house the second I could. Got out before they dragged me to another healing sermon. I raised an eyebrow. So it stuck? Oh yeah. They never let it go. That letter ruined my relationship with my parents for a long time. I stayed silent. He bagged the rest of my items. Handed me the receipt. "I guess I deserved it," he muttered. That caught me off guard. "I was a dick," he said plainly. "I knew I was screwing you guys over. I just didn't care. Thought I was better than everyone. Thought I was clever. I didn't know what to say." He looked up again. That letter hurt. But it changed me. Humbled me. I nodded slowly. Sometimes, pain teaches what pride never will. He didn't smile. Didn't agree. Just stood there, staring. For a moment, I thought he might throw the bag at me, curse me out, demand an apology. Instead, he said, "Still a Queen fan?" I smiled. "Always." "Good." Their music meant something. "You knew that." I was too stupid to see it then. I reached into my bag, pulled out a pen, and flipped the receipt over. I scribbled something down and handed it back. He glanced at it. Freddie Mercury quote. "The most important thing is to live a fabulous life. As long as it's fabulous, I don't care how long it is." He gave a long, slow nod. And that was it. I walked away. Not as enemies. Not as friends. Just two people, scarred by the same story, finally closing a chapter. Was it harsh what we did? Yeah. Was it deserved? Absolutely. Some people learn from lectures. Others from heartbreak. But him? He learned through a flyer, some condoms, and a well-forged lie. And that was the end of our 90s revenge saga. Or so I thought. Because 2 weeks later, I got a Facebook message from him. "Still got a copy of Doom 2? I laughed and replied, "Only if you promise not to return it scratched this time." His mother's face was pale. His father's fists were clenched. And the boy's eyes were locked onto the floor, like he wished he could sink into it and disappear forever. The principal leaned forward, folding his hands, his voice calm but deliberate. This wasn't just a prank. This was retaliation. I didn't deny it. "Yes, sir." It was revenge. The room was still. Nobody breathed. And then the boy's father exploded. "So you humiliated my son to get back at him? Sent condoms and a letter accusing him of being that way? You think that's funny?" I didn't flinch. "I think it's fair," I replied, "after what he did to us for months." I explained. The games. The lies. The scratched floppies. The missing copy protection. The mocking. The deliberate sabotage of every single exchange. He took everything and laughed while doing it. And yet we never hit him. Never shouted. We did something worse. We made the mirrors speak back to him. His mother looked at me then. Eyes glassy, but not hateful. "You didn't just want to hurt him," she said softly. You wanted him to see himself. I nodded. Exactly. The principal side. What you did was wrong. Intentionally cruel. But it was also calculated. And frankly, I'm not sure punishment alone is the answer here. There was silence. Then, the sentence. 1 month of school counseling, for both parties. Supervised mediation. And a written apology from both sides. We agreed. But here's the truth no one said out loud. That boy, he never truly recovered his reputation. Not in that school. Not in that year. He wasn't bullied. We made sure of that, because we weren't cruel. But he was seen differently. Whispers followed him, even though everyone knew it was a prank. Because seeds of doubt, once planted, don't die. They grow. Years later, when I was packing for university, I found that old printed draft of the letter we made. The fake AIDS Foundation logo still faded, the type slightly smudged. I laughed, and then I didn't. Because revenge is a drug that tastes sweet, but sits heavy. And even though he deserved it, I often wondered if I had gone too far. But then again, maybe that's what revenge is. Not fire, not ice, but a mirror we hold up to those who burned us and dare them to look.